Thank you for tuning in for Agent Spotlight. Today we are talking to Troy and Teri Walseth with the Lockhart Walseth team and the Walseth team. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited. I'm excited to have this talk. We've been talking about it for a while, and I finally get to sit down and have this conversation with you. So I want to start with your stats for last year. Your team together in the two locations sold 217 units, 217 houses,
right.
95.8 million
closed
volume, and 2.4 million in gross commission income.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was just you two, right?
Oh,
only you.
Hardly any of us. It's all the team.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm excited to talk to you about today is your team. But let's back up a little bit to prior to KW. What caused you to get into this mode of building a team?
Wow. So way back, prior KW, I was always hiring assistants. I needed help with open houses, help with administrative stuff, and I did it completely wrong. Hire a buyer's agent that can also do admin stuff, that could also sit at open houses, that could, and so I had a team way back before teams were even a thing. When we moved to Florida, I had no intention of building a team, zero intention. We planned on doing some transactions and slowing down. And I got super busy and I thought I need somebody that can handle some of the paperwork stuff that I'm doing that I'm not great at. And I hired that person and I'm running my butt off trying to run buyers around and don't have time to list. I probably need somebody to work with buyers. So it's like it almost happened accidentally. I tried to hire the right people to take the things off my plate that I didn't want to do.
So many people have a hard time, so many agents who are great agents have a hard time of that letting go process with those first few hires. So what would you say to those people who just really struggled with the letting go of control? If
you're a great agent, you're a control freak, number one.
Right.
And being a control freak, we don't want to let go. We want to do everything ourselves. Nobody can do it as great as we can. And that's so wrong. And when you get the right people in place that you trust enough to be able to let go of it, that's when your whole life changes.
If you get the right hire, it doesn't take very long to realize, wow, they're better than me at this. Let them run with it. And that's the thing. Yeah. Let them run with it. Don't micromanage them. Don't say, well, that's not how I do it. Troy's actually a really good trainer as far as teaching people how he wants things done. But then he's like, okay, but if you can come up with a better way, go for it. And
no, I can't get it off my plate fast enough.
Yeah.
It's like hire the right people, get the right people in place that you trust, and let go. Let them run. They're going to make mistakes. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. That's training. So.
Right. And it's all about what you're saying. It's all about talent. It's finding the talented people. Perfect. and let them have their space to be good at what they do.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So you right now have two teams that are operating. Tell us about the makeup of those teams and who do you have working with you in these teams?
Well, it helps if you birth one of them because he's had 31 years of training. That's key for us walking away from that team. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Chase is, and we have constant communication with him. So honestly, he's the linchpin over there. But
right. So Chase runs our Seminole office, and Teri runs our Treasure Island office. So we kind of mold our admin staff together, and we have one hub that cross-pollinates for both teams. So we have a marketing person that markets for both teams. We have a transaction coordinator that does all the transactions from transaction to close for both teams.
We have a listing manager.
Listing manager that handles everything, all listings for both teams, all the marketing of the listings, all the in-depth things that it takes to get something to closing goes to our transaction coordinator. And so.
That being said, our position descriptions change a lot because we really focus on the talents of the people that we hire. We might say, oh, we're looking for this, and then we hire somebody and we realize, wow, they're really good at this and maybe not so good at that. And so we mold the description to fit them. We've never really held tight. Every time we have to replace somebody, we totally have to revamp the position description because it's changed so much because of that person's skills and talents.
Right. And speaking of replacing people, that's one thing that I notice on your team is that you have long time standing agents on your team, people who've been with you for years, and there's loyalty and longevity there. And I think you just described why.
Partly, yeah. Partly also, it was funny because what we tell people even when we interview them is that the team, it's not what can you get from us or what can we get from you. It's a marriage, and we have to both find some value. And if you're not finding that value, you need to tell us because we need to find out what it is. And so we've built in a lot of things in order to keep our people, but it's fair. I mean, we don't offer a different split for some people than others. No, everybody's on the same system. But we've built in different programs because, frankly, our son, he did 11 million one of his first years in the business, and it was like, well, why would he stay with us?
Right.
And so we've tried to do that. So our team has some unique value propositions that other teams don't have
For your agents.
for our agents. Plus, we've only hired people that we truly like, that we want to spend time with. We came here without knowing a soul 8 years ago. And so our team is our family.
Right.
I mean, they're the people we spend all our time with. We better well like them and want to hang out with them.
Right. So let's talk about what really created the success on your team. What models did you follow? What did you implement from the get-go that has created this level of success?
It wasn't successful until we started following the model.
Yeah.
That little red book that everybody talks about when you dive into that. And so we spent many times went off and thought, well, this part of it is stupid. I'm going to do my own thing. And I've had to put the car in reverse and back up and go back to it. Or I've had to remove that position that I had in my head and go back to it. When I stuck to, and I mean, let's be real, the Keller Williams model is not the Keller Williams model. It's a model that was put together from top agents across the country at all different brokerages. Yeah. And it's put into one spot, and you should use it because it came from the top agents, not because it's anything KW. Gary put it together, and so did Jay in an incredible way. And when you follow that model, it just works.
Right.
And until we started following that at a high level, we struggled. So it's all there. It's a recipe, and it's easy once you do it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And still, both of your teams run the two different locations
Completely
different.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what the differences are between the two teams.
So the other team has all the agents are listing agents, and they work with buyers and sellers.
Okay.
On this team, we have agents who are strictly listing agents, and we have agents that are strictly buyers agents. That's a significant difference.
Mm-hmm.
We literally have different CRMs. It doesn't even make sense sometimes, and we would like to meld them. As Command evolves, we intend to move everything to Command and have Command be our focus. But again, we're not going to make changes based on the fact that it's convenient for us or we save a little money. It's what works for those teams and what they've used.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just and honestly, some of it is Chase discovers. Chase is a different generation. He'll say, "Hey, I've discovered this," and we're like, "Hey, let's try it over there."
Right.
Or we try something. Even our clientele is slightly different. Our focus is a little different on the types of marketing we do and the types of on the client relationships. we do a lot of things very different between the two, based on that.
Very
Whether it's perceived or real in our heads, they're different. They're different foci.
And I guess the point is you can follow the model, and there's different ways to run that out, and both of them can be successful because both of those you guys were neck and neck all year. The two locations were neck and neck all year. Right. So I think it's an interesting point of how you're not new to the expansion idea. This is not the first time you've had teams in more than one location.
Correct.
What's your goal as far as continuing to expand and
we have a goal for 2021 to be to have a third location in downtown St. Pete, possibly even in Clearwater as well. And we found agents that kind of fit that description. So we're always looking for talent, but we just want, for lack of a better word, a stronghold on Lower Pinellas County, and that's what we're after. So just to solidify and build leadership in our teams that can take it over. So we've gotten to the point, it's not really, it's not a financial goal, it's not a volume goal. It's we would like to create opportunities for the people who've been loyal to us, who have stuck with us, who we know are extreme talent. We want to make opportunities for them to have something of their own, and so that when we back out, there's not even a question. They'll probably push us out. They'll probably wheel us out. Yeah.
Well,
so four strong leadership positions that are currently on our teams right now. We need 4 locations.
Right.
That's what pushes us.
Right. And that's the thing. You all are always looking for talent. It's an ongoing conversation about who you're talking to and who's knocking on your door to.
Yeah, it's not a matter of do we have a spot. It's like if they're talented and they're great for the team, we're going to find the spot.
Right. Yeah. Very good. So besides expansion, what goals do you have for your teams this year?
So mine, Troy's more the numbers person. Mine is always, I'm very hands-on with the agents. Mine is always to get people to reach their potential. When they say, I want to do this because I want this, I buy into that hook, line, and sinker as much or more than them probably sometimes. They might just throw it out there and I'm like, remember, we're working for this, you know? And that's where I get my high, is seeing them succeed, seeing them set a goal and then hit it when they thought it was a stretch goal. So we're always looking to improve. We're always looking to do better than the year before. I think you probably have numbers in mind.
I do.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. And he says,
mine are very specific and very obtainable. We want to do 120 million, 266 transactions, average sales price of $450. GCI goal of 3 million. We like, So
those answers are both so fitting to both of you.
Yeah.
I love them both equally. They're just both so fitting. Well, our offices would not be the same if we didn't have things like the Waffle House Challenge at Seminole, where agents ended up at Waffle House eating waffles for hours and created this amazing charity event out of it. If we didn't have Frankie, your dog, here on Fridays, we don't know what we would do. So the Lockhart Walseth team definitely, and the Walseth team definitely help create our culture. Tell me, as we look at wrapping up here, tell me what is the value proposition that your teams offer to your customers, to your buyers and sellers, that they're not going to get anywhere else?
A lot of it is in the details that we do. We call it white glove service, and a lot of it is in the specifics that we do, right down to how we take the photography, how we input it into MLS, all the boxes that are checked. It's super, super detailed. I'm not a detailed person, but I know what needs to be done on every single listing for every single seller and every single buyer to get them top dollar. It's all the tricks of the trade on how to post it, how many photos you need, how many, how long the description is, how it's a lot of those details that are behind the scenes things that we learn to get our salaries top dollar.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big value to our clients. And it continues after the sale. So
we're very hands-on with, I mean, we show up for everything. We show up for photos, we show up for appraisals, we show up for inspections. We make sure that we're present for everything and foolproof the transaction and foolproof it. Yeah, not just for PR. There's reasons for all of that. Literally, when you say, you know, like, what does white glove mean? For the longest time, we had a big vase, and every week when we had a meeting, people would put their name in. They would say, I did a white glove act this week. And it was like, what did you do above what people expected?
Mm-hmm.
And then we would draw one and reward people, because we're always looking for that extra thing. And we don't even realize after a while that those aren't things that everybody does. You know, somebody will say, oh, can you believe? And we're like, really? Because that's just what we do.
Right.
And we promise people that. And, you know, I send a card and I'm like, you know, if you haven't experienced a number one amazing service from us, please call me. Let me know. I want to fix it. Mm-hmm. And that's our promise to you.
And I think all of this goes back to our original conversation about hiring talent, and that everybody that you have on your team is so talented at what they do, and they work together to create that. If you know, if one of them wasn't there, just even running to do the deliveries or inputting it correctly or doing the marketing the way that you guys have designed, and if one of those pieces weren't there, it wouldn't be the entire package. But because you have such talented agents and administrative staff, you create this experience that is top notch. Awesome. Yeah. One more question. Any other advice that you have for somebody thinking about either starting a team or starting expansion?
Ooh, that's a 2-hour conversation. Yeah.
You're gonna screw up. There's people. Oh my gosh, you know. But you got to try. You got to. But there's models out there. You know, Gary always talks about creativity is not, you know, you get the foundation. Creativity comes later. Don't start with, oh, we're going to try this. The models are there. Follow them. Some of them are going to have to be tweaked, possibly. But again, Troy said they're out there for a reason. And
get the right people in place. Make sure you trust them, and let go. You're probably hiring somebody better than you. So that should be the goal, to hire somebody that's better than you. And when you do that, you can trust them and you let go. Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And you will make mistakes, definitely. And it's okay.
All in the process of learning and growing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's so many agents that think they can't afford to hire that first admin. And I mean, when it loosens you up to be able to do all the money-making activities or the things that you're good at and that you should be doing, you can't afford not to.
Right.
So.
Right.
It's a big job to do a transaction from start to finish.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody always says that's the most thankful, you know, the hardest job there is, being a single agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for your time, your expertise, and I just love being in business with you too. I'm so honored that I get to walk in every day and see your faces and work with you.
We feel the same way. Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us with Agent Spotlight with Troy and Teri Walseth. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next month.